What's the first step to writing a screenplay?
For me, the first step is usually an idea of plot or story. I don't really start with a character. I admire people that do that. But I'm very much like, Stanislavski kind of outside in kind of thing. Like, find the shoes and then you'll find the person as opposed to the other way around kind of thing, if that makes sense. So I usually have an idea or a concept or a story I kind of want to tell. And in writing it, I find the characters, I find the story. And then when I know it's working, whether that's on an outline perspective or whether that's in a draft perspective or whether it's draft 1 or draft 10, when the characters suddenly start doing things I don't want them to do, then I know I've got the characters right. And what I mean by that is that I can be writing and I can have an outline and I can have a story and I can know where I'm going. And then that character will just start to say something out of my fingers and it will start to want to go through that door instead of that door. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go there and see what happens, and I think that's partly, enjoying being flexible as you write, and partly I think maybe that's like my very basic drama acting training in me is that I can become those characters I write them in a way. And I feel that, and then something in my being says, well, no, I wouldn't do that, as that character. So, albeit your plot needs something to do, but your character might not. Then you get into that interesting area of like, well, okay, well, let's explore what's down that corridor, what's that way. We want those characters to go. So that can be interesting. That can be a really pleasurable side of writing. And I love structure. I always start, with I really like Save the Cat, the controversial, but I feel that if I'm ever stuck or I'm overwhelmed by like, oh God, I've got to write like 100 pages here. Like, how is my idea, my concept, which sounds cool, as a paragraph, how does it actually work as a feature film? Is it worthy enough to be a feature film? I do read that book or pick up that book or, look at Hero's Journey or something like that. And I'll find that, oh, okay, well, that's how I'm going to tell the story. I may not adhere to it. Part of knowing the rules is breaking the rules if rules exist. I don't think they do, but there's a reason why people like setup and payoff. There's a reason why, going back to the days of, telling a story around a campfire or, or at a party, you're telling a good anecdote, like you don't suddenly come out with the ending. It's just not, it's not satisfying. There's this idea of structure or the way you tell stories is kind of somehow ingrained in us. So you need to kind of understand that, or you almost need to play with the audience with that, either to make them feel comfortable or to completely subvert the thing that they think is going to happen. Like all the big twists that we know that we can reel off right now all came because the structure or the style of the film was setting up something we didn't expect, and then it's turned kind of on its head. And that's because, and I'm thinking about the M. Night Shyamalan Sixth Sense and that kind of things, is that because as an audience we're very astute to structure, whether that's subconsciously or consciously, that we always want to try and be one step ahead. So when a film pulls the rug, it's very satisfying because we didn't see that coming. I know some people did see Sixth Sense coming. I didn't. I loved it. So yeah, that's how I would start, is from a concept, start to apply that to some sort of structure, and then let the characters speak.
When you were writing The Last Showing, did you actually act out Stuart Lloyd? Did you become Stuart for a little bit and say, you know what, he wouldn't have said that, he would have done it this way?
Yeah, I did actually. There's a lot of talking to myself in my office, And he's quite an angry character. So more so maybe now, maybe because I've got sleeping kids downstairs, I'll act it in my head. But I do like to read things out, especially long dialogue, monologues or long passages, because to try and find the flow. If you tried to write how I'm talking right now in a screenplay, it would not be how you would expect to write it. Firstly, I don't put enough full stops or commas in the way I talk. I just go on in a stream of consciousness. But if that's the character, then actually talking that out helps you find that, and helps you, because there's nothing worse than that note, like all the characters sound the same, and it's like, well, why? How? Why do they sound the same? And if you can do things like that, like punctuation wise or flow wise, and you've acted it out, then hopefully you can find that through the writing.
So in starting with the screenplay, you come up with an idea. So a projectionist who feels like he's being replaced, new technologies come in, younger workers. He's kind of given this sort of like throwaway job just to keep him on. And then you kind of develop who he is, his psychology. And then after that, what's next? What's the next step in writing?
Well, hopefully I've got a script by that point. I think it's, and sometimes I write very detailed outlines. Sometimes I can't wait to get started, and I'll write, a rough outline, or I'll even just, bullet point like a rough structure and see how we go, And I know in writing Last Showing, which seems really fundamental now to the film he's trying to make. It's kind of the film within the film. But that whole idea of him wanting to be the hero didn't really come about until I started writing it. It was more like, I'm making a film, I'm making a horror film, I'm going to teach these people a lesson and, record it in some kind of weird sort of snuff movie style thing. And I can't even remember whether I think actually he even got caught. I think he died. He did die actually in an early draft. He actually was killed, and actually that felt too cliche. It was like talking that thing about, structure, is that's what the audience maybe wants. But actually in writing Stuart, I felt myself sympathizing with him more than the other characters. I think when people see the film, I think people see that, and actually, one of the reviews, and I must have paid him a lot of money to say this, but he said it was like akin to like 1 Hour Photo and Robin Williams. Like he's like a really bad guy, and you don't agree with what he's doing, but you understand what he's doing, and it's a really funny grey area, and there's tension there. Now my film is 0.01% of the wonderful movie that is 1 Hour Photo, because that's one of my favorites. So that was obviously coming through as well in the writing, as kind of maybe an homage to that as well. But yeah, I think when Stuart started talking to me, I realised that he actually felt what he was doing was right, and it was important to teach these people a lesson. And he wasn't the bad guy, because bad people don't think they're doing bad things, So it's important. So it's fun to explore that. And then I thought, oh, well, that's interesting, because if the film is commenting on, protagonist versus antagonist relations in itself, and I can get the audience to root for Stuart as the bad guy and want him to get away with it, then that's a heck of a lot more interesting than bad guy gets killed by the good guy at the end, And then that changed the fate of one of the other characters, because obviously, in terms of film convention, the bad guy's got to go. But if Stuart's not the bad guy, then maybe the bad guy he creates needs to go. And maybe it's not the Hollywood ending. It's an indie, so we're allowed to kind of get away with it. But I think it's fun to let the bad guy win sometimes.
How do you know you have a great story?
Well, I think knowing you have a great story start I think it starts personally. I think it just comes from a film that you want to see that feels different, or maybe it's trying to say something that you think is important to say. I think I know it's a good story if it doesn't let me go. Like, I keep thinking about it, and maybe I'm not even writing it, in the kind of life cycle of writing, you do the 95% of writing is just not writing. Is thinking, is procrastinating, is avoiding, is torturing yourself that you should be writing. But they don't let you go, and you're on a dog walk and suddenly you're like, oh, that's interesting. Or you watch something, you're like, oh, that's actually interesting. So I've got one right now in my head that is a really interesting concept, because I love to make like an Interstellar, kind of a very kind of epic but kind of internal sci-fi kind of movie, that makes you think. So there's something I'm toying with at the moment. I was basically reading a book about, and I'm not going to reveal it because, someone better than me will write it quicker than I can come up with it. But I wrote something about space travel, about long-term space travel, what its effects it has on the body. And I thought, oh, that's a really interesting thing that could become a story. And that little seed has now grown into this kind of character and this situation. But I haven't watered the idea enough, really. It's kind of still germinating. It's still growing in my mind. And maybe I'll have a spark of inspiration. I'll just want to write it. I feel like I'm ready to write it. Whereas some other ideas you think, oh, that's a fun log line, but you're like, it's maybe not great, or what you think is great. Maybe there's a fun log line that you maybe think you could sell. I mean, that's another thing, Maybe if you've got quite a commercial idea that you could sell as a pitch, and then you could make it great being paid to write it, make it great, that would be the inspiration to write it. But I think if you're writing things on spec, they've kind of got to speak to you in that way that they don't let you go. There's a few like that at the moment that are kind of vying for my attention in my head that hopefully I'll write one day.